fellow co-hosts, AkayGames and BlakRanger. What's going on, guys? Good morning. Happy Sunday.
Hey everyone. Pretty good, pretty good. Kind of all over the place this weekend, but we're back.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
On up, and as you said, episode 11. So we made it past episode 10. We still,
Woohoo!
yeah. We wish Marcus, the video game voter, was here to celebrate with us, but we
Yeah,
celebrated last week, even though we forgot to mention that it was episode 10. So
yeah,
Yeah,
good job remembering. I forgot too.
yeah. We made it for now. We got to make it to 100, guys. We got
Right.
90 more to go.
Woo!
Oh man. So how's everybody been? Anything interesting going on in your lives, your channels? Anything fun?
I just dropped a simulator. I guess you could say video game essay. I used to do them a lot, but I'm kind of getting back into it, especially not that now that there's not a lot of new games coming out and stuff like that. Been playing a lot of Hitman, World of Assassins. That's really fun. Yeah.
Nice. What about you, French? You working on anything or anything in the works, or have you put out
uh,
anything?
nothing too much for me. I did finally put out my Retro World Expo uh, vlog slash pickup video. That was
Nice.
kind of that was super fun. It had been probably like a month, maybe a month and a half since I uploaded anything. I've been way off my game, but kind of getting back to more of myself doing this. And the ugly YouTube algorithm slash YouTube monster did strike its head again because AK, unless she'll probably see it, but it'll pop up that I subscribed to her channel again
No.
because I had already subscribed. But one of those things where I know I've talked to Marcus about it before, and I think me and you've talked about it, Mike, even as some kind of like YouTube will just remove
Yes.
people who sub. So you definitely got to go back and check it because no reason why people I'm sub to just pull up like, oh, it's a new person for you to
Oh,
follow.
that's
I don't
crazy.
follow these people. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that happen before too, where I'm like, dude, I swear I've been following this person forever. Like, I've watched their videos before. I watch them all the time. And I won't be subbed. It's weird.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, a lot has been going on this week in gaming. It's kind of crazy. So some of the things we're going to talk about today is Nintendo is suing the creators of Palworld. And for those of you who don't know what Palworld is, it was a game that came out earlier this year that saw a lot of success. It was basically Pokemon with guns. It was a farming simulator that just kind of took off, and Nintendo has filed an in not a copyright infringement, but a patent infringement lawsuit against them. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then the other thing too is Microsoft has laid off 2,500 Activision Blizzard employees as of recently, which is, it's kind of nuts. That's a lot of people to put out of a job. And then also, it is Sony's 30th anniversary. So they released some cool stuff, or they're going to be releasing some cool uh, stuff for the 30th anniversary. So, and then we'll show you our pickups and talk about kind of whatever we feel like talking about. So, first up, Nintendo. They are suing Palworld for patent infringement. So they are. A lot of people had this misconception that they were suing over the likeness of the creatures or the monsters because, well, let's be honest. I mean, Palworld clearly
Mm-hmm.
copied Pokemon. I mean, it's kind of obvious. It's very very similar to Pokemon, but that is not what they're suing for. That would be copyright infringement. They are suing over game mechanics is
Mm-hmm.
actually what they're suing over, and the particular game mechanic that they are suing over is the Pokeball, like how you catch your animals or whatever they are. They're little monsters. So I believe in Pow World. I only played Pow World like once. I never was really into it, but I watched a lot of friends play it. I believe you throw some type of trap device, just like a Pokeball, and you catch them. And Pokemon's saying, "Hey, we own the rights to that. You can't throw something at an animal and catch it, so we're suing you over that." Which I think is completely ridiculous.
So
And
random.
It's very random. I thought for sure they were gonna sue because the Pokemon look just like the pals look just like the Pokemon. Like they do. Like there's so many of them
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, dude, it's the same. It's the same. Like, but they're not. But you know what? Honestly, I don't think that they should be able to sue over the likeness because there's actually a little comparison thing that came out showing that Pokemon took a lot of creative inspiration from Dragon Quest.
Mm.
I don't know if you guys have seen that, but while you guys are talking, I can pull that up. But yeah, there's a lot of creatures from Dragon Quest that have existed since the 80s that Pokemon clearly took inspiration from, and Dragon Quest never sued Nintendo. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that you can have similarities and likeness to things and take creative inspiration from other things and it not be sued for it. But that's just my opinion. And I love Nintendo, but you know, Nintendo's very, very protective over their IPs.
Yeah,
Very protective.
for
So,
sure.
what are you guys thinking about the whole Pal World thing?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's funny when you say that Nintendo kind of almost copied Dragon Quest, just because I don't know. Being a creative person, I think it's hard enough to come up with, you know, new exciting characters, and I think we've seen that a lot this year, especially like me just recently thinking about like Concord. Like they couldn't come up with like intriguing enough characters to, pretty much get this game afloat. So I don't know, with Power World, I just, yeah, they did. They clearly copied the characters and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I never really got the chance to play it, but I have seen a lot of gameplays of it and stuff because it really popped off when it first came out, and I feel like it kind of died down since then. But I don't know, just gameplay mechanics. Yeah, like I said, it's so random. I could see it though, especially with like the Pokeball and stuff, because that is kind of very iconic, and it doesn't surprise me that Nintendo would find something to go after. I don't know. Do you guys know if they try with the copyright at all, or did they just drop that?
They didn't try with it.
Okay, because I
They
know, yeah,
yet.
yeah, you
I
had
mean,
to.
it's Nintendo, dude. You like never know what they're gonna come after you for. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I know they've been going after so many things within this last year, but yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I'm surprised that the game developers thought that they could get away with, just a clean slate and stuff like that. So I don't know. It doesn't surprise me. I'm curious to see how it goes and if they're gonna take any more action in the future and if the game even stays up at all. So yeah, that's my two
yeah,
cents on it.
yeah. What about you, French? Or what do you think, buddy? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm surprised it took this long for them to, put any type of official lawsuit or anything in place. How I mean, I understand, reading up on it a little bit. Yeah, they gotta take their time and do their digging to make sure that what they're bringing up is valid.
Yeah.
And they, of course, you would think anyone, especially like Nintendo, if they're bringing it up, they got all that they need to know in the background.
oh
They bring
yeah,
it up because they know they can win. They're not
yeah,
just, waste money on it. And something some people may say something as small as how to catch, your Pokemon or whatever they would call them in Power World, or however you catch it, something as small as that would be um, a lawsuit. But when you're looking for something just to be able to win, because you can, that's what it takes. It's the small details that make things happen. So I mean, to some it may seem petty, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I mean,
yeah,
immediately when it came out, everybody said, "Oh, this is a Pokemon ripoff." Immediately,
Yeah,
one
for
so
hundred
sure.
percent.
it's gonna be something, So definitely, I mean, I'm not surprised that it took too long. Now, what they're, the ins and out of what patents they're going to be using, because I think they said actually they don't have the patent, the copyright for it in the U.S. yet, only in Japan, um, and they're still working on it in the U.S. But to be able to have all that and to go this far and to just be found in this lawsuit is kind of crazy, especially since it kind of seems that it's died down some. So
Yeah, and also, you know, we have to realize too that I'm sure that copyright law in Japan is different than it is here in the United States, right? So we don't really know what's going to happen. But I did want to show you guys this. I did pull up the image that's been circling the internet since Palworld came out. So this image has been around for a while. It didn't just pop up because of this lawsuit or anything. But let me show you guys exactly what we're seeing here. So here is the Pokemon, and let me go ahead and pull up the right one.
And while you do that, we do have a comment from VideoGameVotary saying, "Have a great show, guys." So he's in the chat.
We wish you were here. I'm gonna punch you in the nuts. Love
Say
you, buddy.
I didn't know if he had traveled to LA or not, but it was so dark in the back of your game room there, Rec. I thought he might have been standing back there, but I guess shout out to the bro.
Okay, guys. So here, can everybody see that?
Yeah.
So this is the image that has been circling the internet since Power was released, because people are like, oh, all the Pokemon fans are like, well, they're clearly copying. They should be sued. Guys, Dragon Quest has been around since the 80s. Okay, it's got a 10-year gap on Pokemon. Look at the side by sides and tell me that Pokemon didn't take some kind of inspiration from every single one of these.
For sure.
I think my biggest one has always been, every time I saw Dragonite, of course, down there in the bottom right, I was like, this looks oddly familiar to someone.
Yes.
And you can clearly see why. But to see all of them side by side like that is definitely wild.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of undeniable that, Pokemon clearly took inspiration from Dragon Quest. And another thing too is people, them suing over the game mechanic of throwing the Pokeball and catching the monster. I mean, so from my understanding, patent infringement, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but the way that it works from my understanding is you're allowed to patent something that's not like super broad, right? Like that's like not something super universal or broad, as far as like, for example, I was listening to one of my favorite streamers talk about, his name's Asmongold. He's one of the biggest streamers in the world, and he was talking about it, and he thinks that it's absolutely ridiculous that Nintendo would be suing over something like the Pokeball, and the way you throw it and you catch animals, because you're basically, that exists in the real world, and people are like, what are you talking about? There's no Pokeballs in the real world. When you're catching an animal in real life, you use traps, right? So this idea that you can patent the way that you catch an animal using a trap, which is the Pokeball, it seems like it's too broad of something to try to claim ownership over. From my understanding, that's the way I took it when I was listening to him explain it. So I don't know what's going to happen. But you also have to look at things like Digimon or Yu-Gi-Oh, or all these monster type shows and video games that have existed forever. I don't think Nintendo's going to win this one. I think it's a little bit too broad of something to try to sue them over, but who knows? I have no idea. I'm not a lawyer and I don't live in Japan. So I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's a bit ridiculous that they're suing them. I have no idea what's going to happen, but yeah, clearly Pokemon copied Dragon Quest. So I think it would be a little bold for them to turn around and try to sue Palworld, especially because Pokemon never tried to sue, like, as far as I know, tried to sue Digimon, right? And Digimon came out after Pokemon, if I'm not mistaken, and there was a lot of similars. I mean, even look at the name, Digimon, Pokemon, like, it's just, I don't know.
So why do you guys think that Nintendo decides to go after so many people? That's what I'm trying to think about. Like, why do you think they're so protective?
Oh man, it's kind of wild, because you look at someone like Sega, who, for example, you have like the guy who created the Sonic Mania game on the side, and Sega saw that and was like, "Hey, instead of suing you, we're gonna hire you." Like a really good job on that, right? So like, but Nintendo, man, you see anybody do anything with a Nintendo IP, it doesn't matter how big or small the project is,
Yeah.
they will send you a cease and desist letter like instantly. And if you don't comply, they're going to sue you. They don't care if you're just some normal guy, just sitting at his computer, or if you're a business, they will come after you. They've put people in prison. They have literally sued people into oblivion where they will be paying Nintendo the rest of their lives.
Mhm.
um I think that you should protect your IPs. I do. But I think that Nintendo um sometimes does a poor job of preserving their history. I think when Nintendo does release games that are remakes or re-releases, I think a lot of times it's a cash grab. And there are a lot of games and things out there that the fans have been begging for a long time, and Nintendo just sometimes doesn't seem to deliver. It doesn't make I don't know if there's a game that was on the NES that hasn't been available in 30 years, and you somehow maybe illegally acquire the game. I guess I don't. Me personally, I don't see an issue with it because Nintendo's already made their money. They're not reselling the game. It's not available anywhere. And whether I buy it at a mom and pop retro store or if I just pirate the game on my computer or whatever you choose to do, they're not making money regardless. So sometimes I agree with Nintendo and sometimes I don't. Like if you're pirating Switch games, you should be in trouble because it would be no
Mhm.
different if you were pirating an Xbox game or a PlayStation game. Like they're still being sold, you're taking revenue out of their pocket, you're going to get in trouble. But some of these really old games that haven't been available in decades, like I just don't understand it. And fan made projects, I don't understand it either because I feel like if Nintendo adopted more things like what Bethesda does, Bethesda welcomes the modders. You know, they hire them. They
Mhm.
sell their mods on
Yeah.
Sky on the Skyrim and Fallout games, but Nintendo's the opposite. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, because I guess I've seen other companies like PlayStation, kind of like you said, they do sometimes embrace it. I don't think they're as strict as Nintendo, but I mean, I do get why they do it because I think it is like they want to protect their name. Because I know Nintendo does have a pretty strict, um, well, not audience, but like they have a very specific like reputation, and I'm sure it is partially money. Like if somebody's putting out stuff with their name and making money off of it, I'm sure they do want to see at least a part of that check or something like that. Um, but yeah, I think it is very interesting. Votary also commented something else. He said the point was the ball. Digman came after, and they didn't get sued because they didn't copy. And he also said Nintendo's trying to protect their brand. They are the biggest brand in terms of gaming. So, I don't know. Like, I think I think it could be a lot of things, but I think the main thing is they have a certain image, and I don't think they really want to get pushed past that image. But yeah.
Right. What about you, French? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, like Alyssa Rare from Marcus did. Nintendo is the the biggest name out there, really, and it's really because they keep such a tight hold on their stuff. They're very, I don't want to use say political about it, but they're very conscious of what's going on with their IPs, with their
Mhm.
anything that they have copywritten, anything they have patented. They're very like abreast of what's going on. They stay on top of it. If they see something pop up, hey, take it down, or you can. And I think that's kind of helped them to stay where they are in terms of some things. And of course, to some people it may hurt them, but when you look at other companies who have stuff, and like you said, Xbox and they let people Bethesda and all them, they sell their or they give their IPs, let people mod it, and it kind of some ways it's great for the community, I would say, but it hurts the developer in some way because look at how long it takes them to put out games now, and we see when they put something out and if it's not up to par now, all these things. So it's like, oh, I could have got this same thing from a fan made game, and yeah, I just put it out or something like that. So I mean, it's you got it on different parts of the scale, but I mean, for Nintendo, yeah, they to stay where they are, to keep their name and their brand, uh, at the top. Well, where they are at the top for them, really, they got to
Mm-hmm.
do what they got to do. It's understandable. I mean, I know I wouldn't want nobody taking my stuff and so on, but yeah, you could say some things that they would look at is they can do it in a petty way, but you
Mm-hmm.
gotta fight the small battles to win the big war.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
for sure. Yeah, they have. I think they just have a very specific image. I think that's what we're drawing from this, and
saying?
well, especially with like their characters that they've had for a long time. Like I know they're really strict with Mario, and I guess I haven't seen it too much with Pokemon except right now. But I know they have been like super strict with Mario because there's so many
Yeah.
people who come after Mario, and I think I mentioned this on one of the last episodes. But I know Tokyo had this like real life Mario Kart thing, and they recently closed that down too.
Yeah, they did. I heard about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're really protective over like their staples, right? It's money. I wish that Nintendo sometimes would take what their fans are doing, especially when there's fan made projects, because I've seen some really amazing stuff made by people because of their love for Nintendo, not because they're trying to make a buck off of Nintendo. Like I don't know if you guys ever saw that project where somebody took um the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and put it in like the Unreal Engine, and it looked absolutely gorgeous. Like it was Ocarina of Time on steroids to the next level. It looked like a PlayStation 5 game running Ocarina of Time. It was gorgeous. And it was, the guy wasn't selling it for money. Like it was literally just a video on YouTube of him working on like a solo project by himself. And Nintendo sent him a cease and desist and he had to take it down. It's like things like that is what bothers me. Like I get it. Like, the guy that was literally paying, or well, there was a guy who was getting paid to hack Nintendo Switch consoles for people. And I think we talked about this on an episode earlier on, like but there was a gentleman who was literally advertising that, hey, you pay me this much money, I'll hack your Nintendo Switch and put all the games on it. Right. And he got caught and he got sued into oblivion. Like the guy is going to have his check garnished for the rest of his life. He owes Nintendo like 10 or $20 million. And like he's a normal dude like us. Like he's just like he's gonna get sued or he's gonna be paying for the rest of his life, like no matter what. And he did serve jail time, like I think a year. He served a year in prison.
Man.
So yeah, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Like what did you think was going to happen? You're literally offering a service to hack their newest console and give everybody all the games. And like
That's
he did it for
crazy.
lots and lots of people. Like he was literally advertising this service online. It's like, dude, you're an idiot. um like there's two companies I would never screw with, dude. That's Nintendo and Disney. Like
Yeah,
Mario and the mouse, dude. Like don't
for
don't mess with
sure.
them, 'cause they don't care if you're like some 90-year-old grandma just barely making it. They will sue you and put you in prison. They don't care.
Yeah,
But
Disney's a good comparison.
yeah, they're like the movie version of Nintendo, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, but when you see fans that are passionate, like doing things for your game or creating art, like I just feel like more companies should be like Bethesda and embrace it. Like the modding community on uh Skyrim and Fallout is absolutely insane. And a lot of these modders are so talented that Bethesda hired them to work for Bethesda. Like again, I said earlier, the gentleman who created Sonic Mania, which was an absolutely amazing Sonic game. Instead of Sega suing this guy, they were like, hey, do you want a job? And the guy's like, hell yeah, I want to work for Sega. That's awesome. Like, like Nintendo seeing like Ocarina of Time running in 3D, like Unreal Engine, like, dude, I would have called him up and been like, hey, check this out. Like, do you want a job? Not take that down. Like, I don't agree with it a lot of times. There's some things I think are justified, but I think Nintendo tries to throw their weight around a little bit too much, and instead of bracing the fans, they kind of push people away, and it kind of turns people off. I don't know. It's a shame, but I still love Nintendo. I don't, Zelda's my favorite franchise of all time. Right up there with Elder Scrolls. So it just sucks to see Nintendo going after people for loving their games. Like if you're stealing from them, sure, but you know, fan made art and passion projects and stuff like that you don't make a dime from, it's not hurting Nintendo. But again, they have an image, like they they don't want other people creating or putting out there what they interpret their IPs to be. They don't want other visions of their IPs, they want their own. So I mean, I don't know. I just I don't agree with all of it. Some of it I do, but that's kind of how I feel about Nintendo. It's just there's so many games out there that we've been begging for as Nintendo fans, like that we just haven't gotten. I'm
Yeah.
still waiting for Twilight Princess HD to get ported from the Wii U to the Switch. Yoshi's Woolly World is still trapped on the Wii U. There's Kid Icarus. We haven't had a Kid Icarus game since the DS days, right? Like where's that at? You know what I mean? Like I feel like Nintendo releases stuff like remakes and remasters to just as a cash grab a lot of times. And there's still so many amazing Nintendo games that existed on older consoles that haven't been available for, in some cases, decades.
Hmm.
So how do they expect us to play and enjoy these games and preserve their history if they sue you for it? Like, it's like, dude, you're really gonna sue me because I downloaded a copy of an NES game that you haven't talked about in 30 years?
Hmm.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't get it.
I mean, I guess I feel like you could say the same thing though about a lot of consoles. I know you could say it about PlayStation, about them,
100%.
yeah, with the releasing their older IPs or bringing it back. I don't know. I just they have been doing so many remasters, but then not bringing like games that we actually want to see, which I feel like it wouldn't even be that hard to do if you already have like the foundation set and stuff like that. All you got to do is come up with a new storyline and bring it and bring it back. What's so
Yeah.
hard to do? There's gonna be an audience for it either way. I mean, it might not be as big as they want, but I mean right now they're just taking shots in the dark, and it's a 50-50 chance if the game is gonna be good or not. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't take that much to do, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I can see it both ways, but I guess they're just trying to protect what's theirs.
Yeah, and sometimes I mean I don't even know if you look at it as they're protecting their brand, their IP, and they don't want somebody to put out something that they've reimagined that may lead to them losing out in the future to say, well, they've developed this kind of storyline or anything about a game where they may be already in development. Like, say, for instance, somebody took, one of the Zelda games or something and switched it around and made Zelda the, the protagonist in the game, and now it wouldn't be as much excitement for the new Zelda game coming out or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, typically you haven't seen that, but at the same time, it may be sometimes that with some older stuff people may be putting out that people's first impression that they're getting of these IPs or these Nintendo games is from something a fan made or something somebody else developed, and they're like, no, that's not us. No, take that down. We want them to get their first impression from
Yeah.
us, which is understandable. But at the same time, yeah, we haven't seen Kid Icarus in forever. We do want these other things, and I don't. I know we look at it and say it should be easy for them to put these things out. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's somewhat difficult to develop a good storyline because we've seen games come out that look like they're amazing and the storyline be trash, or
Yeah.
the storyline be
Yeah,
the same exact thing
over and
as another
over.
game, just with over and over. So yeah, that can be. But then again, you have hundreds of thousands of employees. I'm sure somebody can come up with something good. So
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you brought up the fans making something that is in the works at the actual studio themselves, because that actually did happen, not with Nintendo, but I'm a huge Bethesda fan. I've said that many times on the show. The Elder Scrolls is my favorite video game franchise of all time. And there was something that very similar happened. So a team of modders for years have been working on a game called Sky Oblivion, which is a mix between Skyrim and Oblivion. It is basically a complete remake from the ground up of Oblivion in the Skyrim engine, or in the Skyrim style. So it's basically Oblivion with better graphics, like Skyrim graphics instead of Oblivion graphics. And it's been a huge like endeavor, and this project has been around for years, and people that are fans of this franchise have been following it for years, and everybody's been so excited to play it, and it was getting ready to release, or pretty close to release. And then Bethesda comes out, and mind you, Bethesda never, they didn't stop them from making it or anything like that, but Bethesda just came out and was like, hey guys, we're doing a complete remaster or remake of Oblivion and Fallout 3, just so you know. And then people like at Sky Oblivion are like, we've worked on this damn project for years,
Yeah.
and now you're releasing a remake of Oblivion. So I'm curious to see which one's better, the Bethesda one or this Sky Oblivion like mod or whatever. But yeah, that it does happen.
Oh, it comes
For
out next
sure.
year. I just looked at it. Comes out next year, they said.
Sky Oblivion or
Yeah, that's what I think it is. Yeah, Sky Oblivion.
yeah, it's supposed to come out in like a year. They've been working on this thing forever. Like I've been following it for a long time, and yeah, supposedly now Bethesda's re-releasing Oblivion and Fallout 3, like remade or remastered or whatever. So I'm curious to see who does it better, Bethesda or this group of modders. So hopefully once they both release, and if Sky Oblivion does well, like I'm hoping Bethesda just uh hires them, like hey, bring them on
Mm-hmm.
board. That'd be cool. I wouldn't put it past them. But you were right about PlayStation. Sony does the same crap Nintendo does. Like, who was the guy that came out? Was it the president who was like, why would you want to play our older games when you could look to the future and play our new stuff? And it's like, everybody's in their 30s, like all of us, we all want to play it.
Yeah.
If we're in our mid to 20s, late 20s, 30s, early 40s, like if we were there for the PlayStation 1 moving forward, we want to play your older games, Sony. We loved them. They were masterpieces. We do want to go back and play the original Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid, Crash Bandicoot, Tomb Raider, like Twisted Metal. There hasn't been a Twisted Metal game since the PS3. Like, we want to play those games, and Nintendo the same thing, and Xbox. But I think as far as backwards compatibility, I honestly think Xbox does it the best, because they're the ones that are like, hey, you want to play your 360 game? Just go ahead and pop it right in your Series X, and you're off to the races. Like, in my opinion, and I know with the way technology is today, that there is no reason that the PlayStation 5 should not have the ability for me to pop in any disc from all 5 generations and it just work. There's no reason. Tell me why it wouldn't work. Oh, the
And
tech.
I'm surprised they've never, even with it being that way, like, okay, well, the same way they're doing with this PS5 Pro, you can get the pretty much the optical disk drive to read the disc. If your system itself won't read all the discs, why not sell an external disc reader that has the
Capability.
capability to read those older discs? Oh, because it's on that black disc or the blue disc, it won't read like the. Well, make an external disc reader that'll do it. I'm surprised they've never done that, because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's not the technology in the system. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
It's just the drive, as you say, the disc reader itself. Sell an external one.
Dude,
Why not do that?
if the PlayStation 3 could read PS1, PS2, and PS3 games, I mean, shoot, the PS5 can already read PS4 games. Figure it out, Sony. Do you realize? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But if they released, like, let's say the PS6, and they're like, hey guys, you're going to be able to play PlayStation 1 through 6 on one machine, people would lose their flipping minds. I would buy it day one. I don't care if it's $1,000. I'd buy it. and buy it. I'd be trading some stuff in to cushion the blow to my wallet. But if I could play PlayStation 1 through 6 on one device, they would break the internet. They would break it. Like seriously, that would blow people's minds. But I don't know if it's necessarily a hardware thing or I maybe it's a copyright thing. Maybe it's a licensing thing.
Mm.
But at the same time, you're not re-releasing these games. You're just people that already own the discs that are out there are putting them in the machine and working. Because the thing is with Microsoft is we know that when you put a 360 disc in there or an original Xbox disc in there, it's not reading the actual disc, right? It is literally just an unlock code. It's saying, hey, he has the original disc, and it downloads the online version from the Microsoft store, right? So it's not reading the discs at all. Those discs are serving no purpose. They're just a placeholder that says, hey, he has the game.
Mm.
Um, but if Sony could figure out a way to make it actually read and boot from the disc like the PlayStation 3 did, that would be mind blowing, you guys. Like that would, how many, I mean, you guys know how many PS2 games I got in here. If I could, like, I got like 4 PlayStation consoles hooked up in my house. If I could just have one, that would be dope, dude. And plus, all these older, consoles, the PS1 has really bad laser issues. Like, I have lasers just die in them like regular.
Yeah.
They're gonna die eventually. Like hardware doesn't last forever, and the upkeep on it's expensive. So it'd be nice if these companies preserved their history a little bit better for us, or made these things accessible for us. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
what would be really dope is if they released like the PlayStation 2 Mini, right? They did the PS1 Mini, like a
Mm.
PS2 Mini would be really cool. I don't know if it'll ever happen. We've been waiting for the Dreamcast Mini as well. Like people have been begging for a Saturn or a Dreamcast Mini forever, but for some reason Sega, just like they did back in the 90s, they are hanging on to the Genesis with everything they have. And it's like,
Yeah.
dude, you have Saturn and Dreamcast fans out there.
And
Mm.
Like,
I think I've recently seen like there are these kind of not like off-brand, but there are these Saturn minis that have been coming out. Like for some reason, every time I've opened Google this past week, it's the first thing that popped up. Don't buy this Saturn mini and news about the Saturn mini. I'm like, what's going on? Where's it? And I didn't read up on it too much, but to see that, I was like, huh. But it, yeah, the one of the reasons why I think the PS2 is still the best selling console of all time is the fact that it had that backwards compatibility of reading PS1 games, and there were so many good games on PS1 and PS2, and to have both of those libraries merged into one is amazing. I think, PlayStation, Sony, if you're listening, release a optical and external drive that can read, these older discs and make it look like the old system. Like make the disc look like a PS1 mini or a PS2 mini, and you just
that'd
slide
be dope.
it.
Yeah,
That
that's a
would
cool
be,
idea.
especially
That'd be
with the
dope.
30th anniversary right here. That would be dope.
I am a little. I am like not gonna lie. That would be absolutely amazing, and everybody would buy that optical drive as like an
Yeah.
external drive. Everybody would like that
Yeah.
would be freaking dope, dude. Because there's so many games I would love to play, and like I feel like a lot of times I'm like holding together my retro consoles with like bubble gum and popsicle sticks just to get them to run. Like I have so many people that come over to my game room and they're like, "Oh my god, you have all these consoles," and I'm like, "Yeah, like a quarter of them don't work. I'm in the process of fixing this one. This one died on me. This one's not reading discs." So it's like it's wild, man.
I
But
I guarantee you, if they release the PS5 Pro, because you know how they have that external disk drive, if they made that
yeah.
external disk drive read the rest of the consoles, it would have had way better
Oh,
reception.
response. Yeah.
Yeah, it would
Yeah,
have
I
been way
guarantee
better.
you everybody would be buying a PS5 Pro if they
Yeah.
said, "Hey, this disc drive, it'll play your PS1 through 4 discs on it too." And
Hmm.
people would lose their mind. Like literally that would open up like so many games in my game room that I could play all in one place. But I mean, like in my game room here I got the PS2 that'll obviously play PS1 games. And then I have my fat backwards compatible PS3. And then in my living room, with the main TV. I have a slim PS3. I can play PS1 and PS3 games. So it's like I got like, and then my PS5's hooked up in the living room so that I can play PS4 and PS5. PS4's hooked up in here. I got like multiple PlayStation consoles hooked up just so I could play my full library of games. I'm like, damn, I just want a one-stop shop to do that. That would be dope. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just wish that these companies were a lot more, friendly to its fans, and consumer friendly, and cared more about preserving their history as much as we do. I mean, because we're all fans of these companies for a reason. Like, we grew up playing these games and falling in love with these games and building relationships with other people through these games, and all we want to do is play these games. And when these companies don't give them to us after decades and decades of just not having them, it's kind of like, well, yeah, dude, I downloaded a copy on my computer of this game that you haven't talked about in 20 years. Like, what else was I supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you're going to put me in jail or sue me because I downloaded a copy of, I don't know, SingStar Country. I don't know who the hell would buy that game. Like, you're really going to sue me because I downloaded a copy of that game? Like, really, Sony, or really, Nintendo? Come on now. But I don't know, I think that copyright law in this country is very archaic. Um, it's the same argument people have with, live streaming over on Twitch or live streaming on YouTube when it comes to using music or things like that. It's just, I think it's very old school, archaic, and kind of barbaric. They need to go back and redo copyright law in this country and really make some adjustments. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on with Nintendo and Palworld. We'll see where this lawsuit takes them, if there are any more that's going to happen, moving forward. I hope that Palworld wins, in my opinion, because this is the last point that I'm going to make. When you start creating all of this like copyright around all these things in video games, like the gameplay mechanics, and you really are reaching for that, I think it stunts innovation in other game companies. When all of these companies take control of all these gameplay mechanics and artistic visions and designs, and they're basically putting a stranglehold on it to where you can't make anything that even remotely resembles this at all. Well, look at music, right? Like, we wouldn't have half the artists we have today if it wasn't for groups like the Beatles, or for Tupac, or for the guys that came before us, right? Or before the current artists and musicians, right? And they all took inspiration. Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen took inspiration from Jimi Hendrix. You know what I mean? And what if Jimmy was like, Eddie, I'm suing you, bro. Like, you play too similar to me. Like, we can't play guitar like each other. What are you talking about, dude? I'm gonna sue you. It's like it stunts progress and innovation, and artistic vision, and people taking inspiration from these companies and building upon it. And I just don't think it's right. And I think that if enough companies keep doing that, we're going to have a serious problem in the future, to where you're going to have these games that are just lackluster, vanilla, basic ass games that nobody's going to care about. I mean, look at Concord.
Yeah. Yeah.
Concord's gone. like, like,
Yeah.
I
And oh, go ahead.
Oh
Go
no,
ahead.
I was just gonna say I could see. Well, I gotta have mixed opinions about it. Mechanics, I feel like they shouldn't be able to sue over mechanics unless it's something like, I don't know. I feel like it would have to be something like very out there, very like creative, like nobody else can even touch this like type thing. Because I feel like mechanics can be so like fluid, and I feel like a lot of it is kind of reused anyway in games and stuff like that. I could almost see with characters, just like how we looked at the Nintendo versus I'm blanking on the other game. I could see how they could sue on that, but mechanics, I don't know. I feel like it's too loose for me. Like, I just feel like it's easy to copy mechanics, especially in like fighting games and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, and I can see it from both, and I can see, you know, their hope isn't that nobody uses those mechanics. They want people to use it, but the copyright just means that you have to pay me
Yeah.
to, which is I'd rather be a money grab from a company than from the consumer. Like, yeah, if I know this company has a ton of money to, develop this game and everything. So if I can sue them for something as small as the mechanic, or if I had it copywritten and they have to get a license from me to use this mechanic in the game, so be it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I think I know that wasn't the intent of copyrights when they first made it, but it was to say, I own this, so if you want to use it, you come to me just like, and, as you said with music. Now, if it was something as small as this is a riff that I play and you're playing this riff and I'm suing you, that's crazy, unless it's
Mm-hmm.
copyright. I mean, there are some things that there are certain, as a musician, there are riffs that people use or certain beats or ways to sample that people have made themselves and it's like named after them. So like, yeah, they run out get that copyright. Like, yeah, you can use it. It's notoriety for me, but you're gonna have to pay me. Some
Yeah.
people some people are petty for it, but I mean, if so now with this gameplay mechanic, yeah, they didn't necessarily weren't the first ones to use it or invent it, but they were the first ones smart enough to say everybody's going to do this at some point. Let me copyright
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, it goes back to like, should you be allowed to patent something that is so broad in scope, right? Basically, what it is you're using a trap to capture an animal.
it. Yeah,
Like, and that's the argument that Palworld is probably going to make in court. Like, no, you can't do that. Another perfect example of an actual thing that is, to me, a very unique, never been done before mechanic in games, and it's kind of famous, is in the Shadows of War game, the Lord of the Rings game, because there's Shadows of Mordor and then Shadows of War. They have what's called the Nemesis system in Shadow of War that has never been done before. And that actual gameplay mechanic or engine is actually patented and it cannot be used. And it's actually really cool. If you've never played the Shadows games from Lord of the Rings, it is literally Lord of the Rings meets Assassin's Creed. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
plays like an Assassin's Creed game, but it is set in the Lord of the Rings universe where you're killing orcs and trolls and stuff. It's such one of my favorite underrated franchises of all time. Honestly, it's that good. It's that fun. I 100%ed Shadows of Mordor. But Shadows of War has a mechanic called the Nemesis system, where the orcs in the world will randomize for every game for every player, and they'll have different names and they'll have different the way that they act in the world, and they will also, when you fight an orc in the game, and let's say it's an orc general or a captain, and you kill that orc, like let's say you shoot him in the back with a couple arrows and he dies. Well, in a lot of ways, sometimes those captains later on in the game will come back. That same captain will still have those arrows in his back, and he'll remember you and he'll say something like, so basically it's a whole system that makes these enemies smart, and they remember you, and they learned how you fought them last time, and they adapt to your gameplay style. So they're like, oh, this guy likes to use arrows, so I'm gonna get up close on him. Like, it's a really cool, intuitive, like, awesome system that they implemented in this game. They own 100% copyrights for a system like that. Like, that
Mm-hmm.
nobody else can make a game using the Nemesis system, which that is on a totally different level than throwing a Pokeball, in my
Yeah.
opinion. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, so somebody in chat says it's Mecha Otaku Gamer, fellow YouTuber content creator, really awesome guy. He says Radiata Stories on the PlayStation 2 also has a unique mechanic. You are able to kick anything and everyone in order to receive items or go into one-on-one duels or recruit NPCs or get unique dialogue. Okay, that's cool. See, I love when games have unique mechanics and gameplay that
Yeah.
has never been done, that like is unique to that game. But yeah, that's where we're at with Nintendo Power World copyright, game preservation. It's a slippery slope. We as fans, we just want games. But the next story we have, guys, is Microsoft has So Microsoft has laid off over 2,500 employees from its gaming division since acquiring Activision Blizzard in 2023. In January of 2024, so the beginning of this year, they laid off 1,900 employees. In June of 2024, Microsoft closed 4 studios, including Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin. And now in September this month, Microsoft has laid off an additional 650 employees, affecting the Call of Duty Warzone mobile and Warcraft Rumble teams. So the 650 employees that were laid off were the teams or the people that were working on the Call of Duty Warzone mobile game and the World of Warcraft Rumble game or mobile game or whatever. Um, you know, I have mixed feelings about this. People might say I'm kind of cold and kind of a jerk. But, dude, nobody was playing Warzone on their mobile phone, dude. Like, no, nobody was playing. I'm a Warcraft fan. I have a Warcraft shelf here. I've been collecting Blizzard stuff since the 90s. Nobody was playing Warcraft Rumble, bro. Nobody was playing that. Nobody was at all. And like, I'm sorry to the 650 people that lost their jobs, but that's life, and it's not just in gaming. I think it's weird that like we hold gaming layoffs like on a different standard than like any other job, right? Like, it's so weird to me. Like, your team made a game that flopped, bombed miserably, and cost the company tens of millions of dollars, and you're surprised you got laid off. Like, I don't know. I work in construction, and I've worked on some of the biggest projects in the country. I've done the Raider Stadium. I did the Niner Stadium. I've done jobs for Oracle. I've done jobs for Apple. I've done jobs for Google, some of the biggest facilities in the country here in California. And if my company lost, if we were working on that project and my team had lost millions of dollars on a project because we did a bad job, I'd be getting fired. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's reality with most of that's reality with work. Like, any job that you have, it's not just in gaming. And if nobody is playing Call of Duty Warzone mobile, if that game's not making money and they have to downsize and release people, I'm sorry, man. Like, it is what it is, but in some cases, you have the higher ups, the shareholders that push these game studios and push these employees to their breaking point, and they release a half-cocked, half-baked, buggy, crappy, glitchy game
Yeah.
that bombs right out of the gate. And it's not the developer's fault. They worked their butts off on this game, but they were pushed because it's all about money. So I could see both sides of it. If there's a division in gaming, like these mobile games that just aren't making money for them, or they're just not doing a good job and they have to close down that department, I'm sorry, that's reality. But then I do feel bad for the employees that work on big games that bust their butts and they get closed down. But it was really the people at the top that was pushing this garbage agenda or the garbage games and putting them out half done and broken. So I don't know, what do you guys think?
Yeah, so I actually do know people who play Call of Duty Mobile, and they would play it pretty heavily, but I'm not denying that it has like decreased in popularity. So I'm wondering if it's just, less people are playing, so they need less people to work on it. I played it a few times. I liked it. But I'm still surprised they're laying off people just because um I don't know. I still think it's a pretty big company, and I feel like if they don't need them in one area, maybe they could use them in another, because Call of Duty in itself is still a pretty big game, and I know they work on other games as well. So I just feel like maybe instead of firing them, they could have maybe used them in another area. But I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, layoffs happen everywhere. I don't think it's just a game industry thing, but it has been a lot, unfortunately, in the game industry. I know Sony did it a lot, too, within this last year, but it's just crazy to me. But I just wish that they could find different ways to use these people instead of laying off. Because when I heard 2,000, like, that's a lot of people, but it happened, so.
Yeah, I kind of thought, like, when I figured though that there would be a lot of layoffs when Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard,
Yeah.
because I figured that Microsoft would be inserting their own people into those roles and kind of just completely taking over Activision Blizzard, right? So, what do you think, French?
Yeah, and I kind of feel, kind of to mirror both points. Like, yeah, layoffs happen every day, and I wasn't as big into Call of Duty mode. I played that one a little bit. I was real more so into PUBG mobile,
Oh.
because that one just seemed like it was more fun to me. Like I and with the popularity of, it was kind of the popularity of those and Fortnite that kind of pushed those to become so big. And like Alyssa said, the hype around it and everything has died down a lot because there's other stuff going on. Hey, you got the new Call of Duty about to come out, and everybody's more so excited about that than picking up their phone and playing. Like, yeah, I would rather play it on a console, but like I was big into PUBG on mobile. Like I didn't want to buy it for this because I had to buy it. It
Mm.
was free on mobile. I even bought um, a holder for my phone to, the controller fit to make it more comfortable because I would be on there and I like had teams. Like I'd be at work getting messages, be like, "Hey, friend, you hopping on because we about to get it in." I'm in there. Like it was real big, but I understand, when you don't need those resources as much. And it didn't say they laid the entire team off. It came from those, from that area, those mobile game areas, to where you don't need as many people to manage the systems or the mechanics of it, I guess, or the updates or anything. So you let a bunch of people go. There's probably still a bunch of people that work in there, but they let those amount go. But at the same time, yeah, it is a huge company. I'm sure there's other stuff, and as much as we are, on these companies ask about, hey, we want this, we want that, we want to see this, we want to see that. Pretty sure you can use those brains and those developers and move them somewhere else to make the your consumer more excited about what else is coming, rather than what you got to think about, the future. Like they're
Mm.
focused on what's coming out now. That's still the future. It's about to come out, but go ahead and go down some of them Reddit threads and go through YouTube comments and just Google your company and see what people saying. See what they want. Take those people from those areas. They were doing a good job in those. Well, we would assume they were doing a good job, especially when the games first came out. Put them somewhere else and help develop, you know, those things that we as the consumer want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like it's just I feel like everybody kind of knew it was going to happen when Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard, that they weren't going to keep all of their employees. You
Mhm.
know, like Phil Spencer, when they bought Activision Blizzard, he said there is going to be a culture change. Things are going to change, and you are going to report to me. I am your new boss, like not Bobby Kotick or whatever that loser's name is. Um, so yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of saw it coming. You know, it was a big merger. It was a $69 billion merger, the biggest in video game history. Microsoft was going to insert their own people into these into the Activision Blizzard and all the other studios that they bought. It just was I knew it was going to happen, and they couldn't keep everybody. It just wasn't feasible. So,
And
um
there was probably something. Anytime something like that happens, yeah, any merger, anything, you're gonna see people let go or move to a different area. There was probably something in the write up of the sale. I'm pretty sure that was a long
oh yeah.
contract and everything, to where it said, there will be cuts in, different departments. There'll probably be more people let go within, the next couple of months too, to where we're acquiring this company from you. These will become our employees, but our company number will stay right here. So anything outside of this number, it will be this many employees let go
Yeah.
over time. So it was probably in the works, and it seems like a lot. Yeah, 2,500 sounds like a lot, but yeah, they broke it down. That first cut, in January, it was like, nah, it's 1,900. Get out of here. Like that one hurt. Like that's it.
Yeah.
That's a lot at once. But they kind of, when you have hundreds of thousands of employees letting a couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand go at a time, is doesn't seem as much because it's a very small percentage as to how many people work there.
Yeah, because I'm curious how many. Let me look this up.
I was
How
just thinking
many?
about that. How many people actually work there? Because if you're letting go of 2,000. It must be a decent amount.
Yeah,
Okay, so as of September, and mind you, this is Microsoft as a whole, which I'm just, they're a, they own Xbox.
Yeah.
Xbox is Microsoft. As of September 2024, Microsoft has around 228,000 full-time employees worldwide, with over 126,000 in the United States and 102,000 internationally. That's a lot of people. So Microsoft laying off 2,500 compared to 228,000
That's
yeah.
crazy.
is nothing.
It's less
Yeah.
than. They even said,
It's like 3% or
yeah,
something.
and when I looked up, it said the 650 uh, that they're laying off in total with the other ones that have gone has only been 3% of its
Yeah.
global workforce, which again, that's a a very small percentage. If you got a 3% chance of doing anything, it ain't happening. So
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
letting 3% of something go. If I lose 3% body fat, I'm still fat, but it depends on how fat I am.
Yeah. Shoot. All right, guys. So the next thing we're going to talk about is I'm going to share it here on the screen. I like this little share screen feature. It's kind of cool.
That's convenient.
Uh, it is. All right, here you go, guys. Boom. Sony's 30th anniversary stuff is coming out.
That looks so
It
nice to me.
it does look so nice. I hate them because it looks so nice
I
and they
know.
want me to spend more money.
So, here's my question when it comes to this, because Mike, we know you had your opinions on. You just weren't able to get on last week as we talked about the PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
Do you think? And I'm sure they had it in works. In my mind, I think they did the announcement of the PS5 Pro kind of to test the waters to see whether it would be a love hate relationship with what they're doing, especially with the kind of, as we say, the price gouge for the incremental increases that they're making in there. But I feel like they did it in this strategic order to say, well, we're gonna see if this is great or if it flops. But either way, we know y'all gonna be in love with this 30th anniversary stuff, so we gonna get your money either way.
Yeah. You know what though? Here's a little hack, you guys. So before, obviously, well before this was even announced, like a long time ago, I got my PS5. I thought it was so cool that you could take the side plates off and like put different ones, right? So when I was browsing different side plates, there's a lot of companies out there that make side plates that look like the PlayStation 1 already.
Yeah.
So like if you and like the PlayStation 2, like so if you can't get your hands on one of these, because as far as I know, there's only going to be 12,300 of these consoles made. That's it. So less than 15,000 of these will exist. Um, and so, like, for me, I'm not going to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro for the sheer fact of like it's such. I already have a PlayStation 5. I just got mine last Christmas, so I haven't even had it a full year yet. I love the damn thing. I really do. I like being able to play my full PS4 library. I do play some of the retro games on my monthly subscription thing that they have.
Hmm.
And I like my PS5 games. I've been having a blast. I just actually picked up, well, I'll show you guys in the pickups. But I just picked up some stuff and I like my PS5. I enjoy it. I love the controller, you guys. You know what game I was just playing the other night with my daughter for the first time, and I am addicted to it, is Astrobot.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that game is so good, dude. Like I love Astrobot. My daughter loves it. That game is amazing. So I like my PS5. I like the controller. I like everything about it. I cannot justify a $700 purchase on a
No.
console that it's just a slight incremental increase with it when it comes to graphics, right? So the best way I can compare the PS5 Pro is like, okay, so like if you've never had a PS5 before and you're looking to get one, this might be an option for you if you can afford it, right? No different. But if you already have a PS5, I unless you're a crazy like PlayStation fan or enthusiast and you have the money, I don't see it being necessary. Um, Kind of like the Switch fans who, if you had a regular Switch, do you need the OLED, right? Like because you're only getting the screen upgrade. Like as far as
Yeah.
performance goes, it's literally the same console. So yeah, if you play, for me, I didn't buy the OLED because I don't play in handheld mode. So buying the OLED would mean nothing to me because I'm going to have it docked 99.9% of the time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, $700 is a lot of money. Um, for anybody, I mean, in this economy with the cost of groceries and gas and stuff, it's really expensive. So I don't know what Sony was thinking with that price point. I feel like it's the Neo Geo all over again, or from the 90s. Um, but honestly, guys, there are literally, and while you guys talk about this too, I'll bring them up. But there are companies that make skins or actual plates that are really nice that look like this. Like, yeah, it won't say 30th anniversary down here in the bottom left hand corner or whatever, but if you're going for aesthetic, um, there are companies that already make plates like this, and they make controllers like this, and I'll pull those up too and show you guys here in a minute. um, and then also another thing that bums me out is that they're not releasing this 30th anniversary for the regular PlayStation 5.
Oh yeah.
It's only going to be the Pro model and the Slim model. So you won't be able to, like, regular PS5s at the $500 price point. You won't be able to do it. Like, you can't
Mm-hmm.
get it. So that kind of sucks for people that would like to get a cool one like this, but they have to spend more money because
Yeah.
they have to get the other console. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks really, really nice. It does give me a nostalgia feel and stuff like that, but I won't be buying the console. I already have a PS5. If anything, I'll be buying, the controller maybe. I don't have a PlayStation Portal. Um, I don't think if I ever did decide to get a PlayStation Portal, these would probably be sold out by now. So, if anything, I'd get the controller, but I'm not buying a new PS5. I already have one. But yeah, I think it's a really, really nice design.
Yeah, it's definitely aesthetically pleasing and very easy on the eyes. But again, for anyone who has one already, except for those avid collectors, and I only mean avid gaming collectors, not people who just collect and don't game. For those avid collectors who play, it's definitely something I could see them just having as a shelf piece. Those are the ones. I'm not saying they're making it just for that, but they know they're. We do have those people in the community who just would buy it to have it, and I do see it as an investment for those who can afford for it to be an investment for. But for anybody else, no, 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 no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So here's one of the custom skins on Etsy, or plates, I mean. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's one, and it's $16, right? Like, there's that, and then this one looks interesting. This one's kind of cool. This one is also on Etsy. Let me share this one. Um, it's actually pretty neat. Where is it? Here it is. There's another one.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, that's
You
fine.
know, it's $20. You know, so like if you care about that type of aesthetic, like you want it to look old school,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, there's and look at this one right here. This one's pretty dope. Uh, Now this is a fully customized controller. This isn't like this one's pretty cool, but this is oh, hold on. Let me But this one's a little pricier. So this one is $160 on Etsy, but it's a fully custom
Yeah,
controller,
that looks
you
really
know.
nice.
It does. It looks amazing.
Did we
So
get a
but
Did we get a price on what PlayStation's selling it for?
I don't. And see, that's the thing, is like if they're gonna sell the 30th anniversary controller for the price of a regular controller, which is like 70, $80, obviously I'm gonna go with that over something like this instead of the
Yeah.
160, right? But if they're like, oh, it's a special controller, it's gonna be $200, I'm like, well, this one's 160, Sony. I'm not gonna lie to you though. I'm not getting the console. I'm getting the controller. If I can
Yeah.
go pre-order it, I'm gonna get the controller. I'm not gonna get the crazy Edge one that's like 200-300 bucks or whatever
Yeah.
it is. I'm gonna get the regular controller, and I might leave it in the box if I'm being
Mm-hmm.
honest. Like, part of me, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought about it in my head because when I saw this for the Pro, I was like, damn, I just made a whole video shitting on the Pro. about how I'm not getting one, and then Sony pulls me in with this 30th anniversary. I'm like, okay, how can I make this work? How can I get this thing and not look like an idiot? Because I was like, well, I could trade in my regular PS5. I know GameStop is giving like $450 right now if you trade it towards the Pro. And I'm like, okay, cool, we're halfway. We're halfway. And then my buddy owns a game store, and I'm like, well, I got all these 360 games that are worth about $1,000. Like I could walk out with a PS5 Pro 30th anniversary, like pre-order it and not pay anything, just in trades. And I've thought about it because I don't want a regular PS5 Pro, but I really like this 30th anniversary one. It looks dope, dude. It looks so dope. I kind of missed out on that one with the 20th anniversary for the PS4, the blue one. Like that console was clean too, dude, and that one was numbered and everything too, and I missed out on that. I don't know. But yeah, guys, honestly, go to Etsy, go to Google. If you really care about just like the look of it and the aesthetic, oh, this one's cool. Got to show you guys this one. Because you know I'm the PS2 guy. Last one, I swear. This one is clean. Boom. PS2 right there, boy.
Oh, yeah, that one's cool too.
Yeah, that one's dope, dude. I might get that one. But that one's cool. But that one's $70, but that's still pretty cool. It's still pretty cool. Not bad for 70, right? But yeah, guys, I mean, if you just care about the aesthetic and you aren't planning on buying a Pro, go to Etsy, go to Google, type in. They have so many different cool plates like that are just really cool with like your favorite games, colors, retro designs, modern designs. So if you want to save money, there's options out there for stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of want it and I kind of don't. I don't want to spend the money. I know I'm getting a controller, but I'm still on the fence about the console just because if I do it, I'll have to trade in my current PS5 and some games because my wife would kill me right before Christmas spending $700. She'd kill me. She would kill me. And especially because last Christmas was when I got my PS5. Like my wife and my mom and my brother and stuff and my dad, like they all kicked in to get me my PS5. Like that was my main gift because I said, they were like, what do you want for Christmas? I was like, I want a PS5. They're like, okay. So like everybody kicked in money. They got me the PS5. They got me Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, an extra controller,
Awesome.
docking station to charge. They got me the whole setup. So my family all came together and hooked me up last Christmas. And it's like, I just got the damn thing. It's like, I don't want to, I don't know if I want to get rid of it, but I don't know. But next up, I think the portion of the podcast, how long have we been going for? An hour and 12 minutes. You guys got any cool pickups? Because I got a couple things. Do you guys buy anything new?
Let me see. I have a couple things. Oh.
Cool. I'm going to blow up your screen and you talk about it. I'm going to grab mine.
Yeah. So definitely not a lot. I'm sure not as much as Rect has. But I do have the Prince of Persia. Try to get it there. Prince of Persia on the PS3. And then I was really debating if I wanted to get this next one, but this is kind of, and I know I should not have been playing this as a child, but I did play this game a lot as a child, and that is the 50 Cent Bulletproof. I'm not sure if you guys have ever played this game.
That's one I don't have yet.
I've never seen it at a store, so I'm like, okay, I have to pick this up while I'm here, because I used to play it a lot with my sister growing up. So I'm like, nah, I need to pick this up, because it was a little pricier than the ones I usually get. So I was debating it, but yeah, I ended up getting it. So yeah, those are the only two. I just picked those up like yesterday. So
that's dope. Hell yeah. All right. So hold on, we gotta go. Boom. All right, French. You get anything?
No,
Have you bought anything?
The only thing I picked up this week is my daughter. As far as buying things, I bought groceries and I think pull-ups. Yeah, that's the most I bought.
Story of our lives, dude. I cannot wait until both of my children are out of diapers and pull-ups. I am like overbuying it. I'm so done. $50 to $60 a box from Costco. I'm done.
I just thought about it. If I keep my daughter home from daycare, from school for 2 weeks, I can afford a PS5 Pro.
no.
I mean,
Weeks. If I did
priority,
it for a
right?
month, I could definitely get the 30th anniversary bundle.
You should. You should. Now, will your wife go for that? Probably not.
She wanna. Yeah, she wanna.
Yeah,
She,
just
she's at work. She won't know that she.
I mean, I would, dude. I would. Hell yeah. All right, so I got a lot of pickups. I'm gonna run through them quickly. So some of these were at my buddy's game store that just recently. I went to his store for the first time. He just opened recently, and I did a video that I'm putting together for his store that'll be out soon. So I picked up PS2 games from him, and then a lot of these are flea market finds. As of actually yesterday, I got a lot of stuff at the flea market for dirt cheap. So let me go through these. So oh, and some were GameStop. Okay, so flea market video games. I got Gang Beasts for the PS4. Paid like $2 for that. South Park Stick of Truth. Paid $3 for that. I was looking. I was glad I found this one. The Uncharted collection for PS4 has 1, 2, and 3 on it.
Mm-hmm.
I paid $3 for that at the flea market. And then so for newer PS5 games, I talked about it earlier. Astrobot, uh, Dragon Ball Z, Xenoverse 2 for PS5, Ratchet and Clank, A Rift Apart. Finally picked that up. This one I've been looking forward to for a long time. The Dead Space remake for PS5, and Devil May Cry 5 for the PS4. Those were all from GameStop. And then here's the games that are from my buddy's game store for the PS2 collection. We've got Robotech Battle Cry. We've got Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters.
That cover's awesome.
We got Godai Elemental Force. Siphon Filter Dark Mirror. Mad Maestro. I heard this one's a good one. 13. Then we have MDK2 Armageddon. Don't know what that is. Looks like a monster game or something. We got by Square Enix Front Mission 4. Zathura. Space Jumanji, basically. And then we got Shadow Man 2. Okay, so those are the ones from my buddy's game store. And then here are some more thrift store, or not thrift store, flea market finds. It's a little gross. So I'm going to have to completely clean this controller because the buttons are a little sticky. But for $5, we got the blue PS4 controller. For $5, it's not bad. For $5, so nostalgic for this Super Nintendo game. But we got Ken Griffey's Major League Baseball. This is such a good baseball game. I used to love this when I was a kid.
Shout out to Glenn.
Oh yeah, shout out to Glenn.
With one hand.
Right. And then my wife is a huge fan of The Sims. Okay, like when she used to make content, it was all Sims content or Zelda content. And so somebody was selling all these big box PC games for the original Sims. And so we've got The Sims 2 Unleashed. Then we've got The Sims Superstar. Then we got the original, the base game, but the deluxe version in this giant box. Yeah, fully complete. Then we got The Sims Live in Large expansion. This was a huge expansion for the original game when that came out. Then we got The Sims House Party expansion. And then lastly, this game is actually factory sealed, never opened. The Sims Hot Date.
Oh.
And it is sealed, never been opened. So my wife was stoked because she's like wants to play them. And then one more thing.
Dun, dun, dun.
I love The Sims as well. I haven't been playing it as much as I used to, though. I used to be on that game so much.
I've dabbled in The Sims a little bit. I did at one point. I was like, I want to get all the Sims like games on like PS2. I was like, I want all of them. All that. I want all this.
All right, so I found these were also from yesterday at the flea market. I got these for $1 a piece. Okay, so I'm a big PC gamer, computer gamer. And these were all really old school PC games that I grew up playing and I remembered, and I picked them all up again for $1 a piece. Rogue Spear, Rainbow Six Rogue
Yeah.
Spear
Oh wow.
from the 90s. We've got Myth 3, The Wolf Age. Dude, I love these old like PC covers and the jewel cases. This one was what caught my eye at the table first because I was like, that looks like that could be an expensive game. Um, According to online, it's about a $50 game. Paid $1 for it. This one is called Carmageddon 2, Carpocalypse Now. Like, I was like, this seems like such an oddball offshoot game that looks like it could be rare. So that's what drew me to this table. We've got StarCraft and the original StarCraft and the expansion for the original StarCraft, which I thought was cool being a big Blizzard guy. Then who remembers Myst? Dude, such a classic 90s game. Then we got the original Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six.
Oh wow.
Dude, this and Rogue Spear was so dope growing up. Um, then we got the first Myth, the Total Codex. Then we got Riven. Riven is the sequel to Myst.
Okay.
And then lastly, I don't know what this is, but it was $1. But no idea. It has Totoro on the cover. It's got Sailor Moon. It's not in English. It says video CD and nothing's in English. So I'm going to put it in a device and see what happens. It's probably just music. I think it's honestly just a soundtrack of like these random, like there's Pokemon on the back. There's I don't know.
It's probably all the Japanese intros to the shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it was $1, so I grabbed it from the same table with all these old PC games. So yeah, that's what I picked up over the last like week and a half or whatever. Quite a few things. So yeah, that's where I'm at with my pickups. But yeah,
Awesome.
and the PlayStation collection is up to 5 and like 14 games now. So for PS2, 514.
Oh
Still got
nice.
over 1,300 to go. It's depressing.
Sometimes
Slowly but surely.
you'll probably get there before I get through the N64. You know the vast library that the N64 has of almost 300 games. I'm pretty sure you get through the PS2 collection.
Dude, so how many more do you have?
120 something.
120?
Yeah.
You'll get there.
Because I said it. I don't know if it was on here before I went to Retro World. I had done like an inventory to make sure I wasn't getting the same stuff. And some of the games I was like, oh, these games that I have checked off are not. I don't see them. And then yesterday I was looking. I was like, oh, here's the one that I said. I knew there was one specific one. I was like, I know I have this game and didn't see it. I pulled it right out. Pause yesterday, and I was like, oh, it's right here. So I got to go back through them, but I've got a. I do have a deal that I'm working out right now. Well, trying to work out. Supposed to be working out with Ben um, from the Pixel Game Squad to for a bunch of N64 games that he has. He was like, you got to tell me before I put them on whatnot. So I got to work those out with him, so I can get a couple of games and knock those out. But it's so hard in this area.
You don't use price charting
Yeah,
to record your collection?
yeah. So I have them both in price charting and in game eye. But that's what I was saying. I have them checked off in there.
Right.
I hadn't updated it in a while. So I had them checked off in there, and as I was going through, I was like, I have it. It says I have it right here in my collection, but I don't see it on my shelf right here. But it's literally like right where my hand is. The game that I was talking about, and I was like, oh, it's right here. So I
I
don't know
just
how. To work.
I just read in chat someone said Duel Masters isn't Yu-Gi-Oh. God damn, it looks just like Yu-Gi-Oh though. This one? I swear, I swear, I thought this was always a Yu-Gi-Oh game. It looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh game. It's cards. It's monsters with cards. My bad. Sorry. Um, well, guys, think that's about it, right?
Yep.
All right, we are about we are an hour and 25 minutes into the podcast for episode 11. Thank you guys for sticking with us. Let's go ahead on our outros. We'll talk about what we got coming up this week or in the future for our channels. So, AK, you go ahead and let everybody know what they got to look forward to.
Yeah, so what do I have coming up? I think more AK's archives like always. I'm getting in the swing of doing those. I have another video coming out this week too that I'm blanking, but there will be another video. I think it's something to do with PS5 games, like listing some PS5 games in this specific category, but I still have to record that one. So yeah, kind of just the usual stuff coming out. My videos come out every Friday at 7 Central Time. So yeah, just be on the lookout for it. It'll be a surprise for everybody.
Nice. All right, French.
Yes, yes, yes.
What do you got in the works?
First up, I never noticed it until just now, but that PlayStation controller pillow on your seat back there.
Oh yeah, thank you.
That's pretty good. But as I said, I finally did my Retro World Expo vlog, and it's kind of like a collab vlog with Marcus, the video game votary. Mine released on Thursday, his was Friday, and we have some of the same takes or some of the same situations you see from different views. We've got an alien side in there. It's pretty fun. Like just go on and get your laugh on and have a good time. Outside of that, I do. We'll get back to my video games monthly unboxings this week, and I'm holding myself accountable and getting these, having fun with it again, getting these videos out.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, I think I'm finally gonna start being able to go back and thrifting some more. That's where all of my early content was. I used to love thrifting and making those videos with inspiration from some of the big people who do it and some smaller channels as well. Um, but with the change of how Goodwill and all them people send it to headquarters, it makes it harder. So, gonna be doing that. Some GameStop visits are gonna be coming up, checking out what my retro ones look like in the area, and just a bunch of fun. And like I said, make sure Marcus isn't here, but make sure you go on Video Game Votary page, check out his Retro World blog, Video Game Votary viewpoints, where he's talking about some of these new Switch games that he's gotten access to, so you can see how it is before they come out. And yeah, make sure you check out all of us, AkayGames, RectWizard, Video Game Votary, all the friends of the pod, everybody. If you in the comments or you're on the podcast, look through the people who are in the comments, and if they're creators like you, sub. Give them a like. We all here for the same reason, just to have fun the game, show everybody love. That's what I got.
Absolutely. Yeah, for my channel, I got a bunch of videos lined up. So I am, as of this morning, where is it? I am 50 subs away from 10,000 on YouTube.
Woohoo!
So we are close. I have something special planned for that. I am going to be doing a live stream, little celebration live stream where I'm doing a big giveaway that I have in the works with somebody, another person online. So got something really cool to give away there. I have a couple other videos that are in the works right now. My SoCal Part 2 video released last week. Part 2 will release this week. So if you didn't see yourself in the first part, you're in the second part. If you know that I filmed you, you should be. I don't know. You should be. So the guy who does some of my editing finished them finally, and then I know that I've got some other videos in the works. Like I said, my buddy's video game store I just filmed where I picked up a bunch of those PlayStation games. I got some other stuff planned as far as content where I'm excited to put out. And I just been doing my shorts and my TikToks and Instagram stuff per usual. So other than that, yeah, I just keep an eye out for SoCal Part 2. SoCal Part 1 released about a week ago. My take on the PlayStation 5 Pro also released about a week ago. And yeah, help me get to 10,000 subs. We're 50 away, so I'm excited, man. Like, it's freaking dope. But other than that, that's it for me. Um,
Oh, you know what? My bad, Rec. Uh,
yeah,
Everybody watching on the different streams, make sure don't forget to also sub to the upcoming retro YouTube page because
yes,
eventually we will have one joint stream on the upcoming retro uh, page so we can see everybody's comments together and we can all come together and just have some fun. So yeah, make sure you're checking out that. Make sure you hop on over there and sub there too.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do have our own page on YouTube, our own channel for this podcast, and we will be eventually switching and transitioning over to that channel where we are live streaming just from that channel instead of our personal channels. Um, but we're just trying to kind of establish that we're even here first and letting people know on our own channels, like, hey, we're here. But yeah, we will be moving over to that. And when that does officially happen, obviously we'll let everybody know on our social medias and stuff like that in our content on our own channels. But yeah, I think that that's about it, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in for episode 11 of the upcoming retro podcast. It was great to see everybody. If you would like, please subscribe to all of our channels, check out our content, and we're on all the social medias, so we're around. And also, please make sure you check out VideoGameVotary, our good friend Marcus, who couldn't be here today. um, he's also a host of the channel as well. He's on every social media, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. So, but you guys have a great rest of your Sunday, and we will see you next week with another episode of the upcoming retro podcast.